I'm at 7227 Rivendell Circle in Centerville, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, anything that would be concerning to the buyer. Now, the access is a floor clean out in the front, basically front right of the basement, right in from the foundation wall. So should be able to see, there is the access, and you can see based off of there is the sump pump and the hot water heater just behind us. So it should be PVC in both directions here, but in this case I am going to, with this access, I'm able to go upstream and downstream. And so first we're going to go upstream, back in towards the, back into the house. Somehow, well, sometimes these spots have a little lip on them because we're going upstream against the way the connectors, or the way the line connects. You know, they have a little bit of a step down when you're going downstream, and so when you're going upstream, sometimes there's just that little lip right there, right inside the clean out. It doesn't want to let the camera go. So let's see if we can get that to. There we go. I think I got it. There we go. Okay, so it's pretty normal to have a little bit of that build up like that, kind of a mold or whatever that kind of builds up from the stuff sitting. But I'm just going to make sure, and what's going to happen most likely is that I'm going to actually knock some of this loose and kind of scrape it off the bottom of the pipe. And we'll run some water to rinse that off the camera lens if necessary. But you can see it's kind of like a mold that kind of builds up from all the moisture and stuff inside that line. But once we get up to the high end, or the most upstream side, if the camera lens is good on the way back, it never really gets any, you're not pushing through it and plowing it up in front of the camera. So as you're pulling back, it's always a little clearer than when you're pushing. Now, this could have some, a little bit of grease and stuff in it. That's normally, even if you're not actively, purposefully dumping the grease down the drain, it does happen a lot with washing dishes, dishwashers. And also, one thing people don't think about is the liquid fabric softener in your washer. That has an oil base to it. It does tend to leave kind of a grease or like a grease layer around. You can see, kind of peels off. The thing with the PVC is this stuff kind of peels off. It creates a mold kind of thing, and it kind of peels off. Looks like plastic or something, the way it peels off the inside of the pipe when you hit it. But see, we made it all the way back to the high end. This is as far back as the line goes, or this is where the line originates. So you've got to make sure that the camera lens, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that the camera is pointing straight up. It's going vertical into that line right there. That's where the line originates. So I'm going to see if we can find that very back line, and we'll see if we can run a little bit of water upstairs to not only flush the line out a little bit now that I've broken some of that loose, just to get it out of there, but also to rinse the camera lens off. So I'm going to pause the video. Okay, we are really close to the downstairs bathroom. It has to be, I assume that's the high end, but we're going to find out real quick if this basement bathroom comes in right here. If not, I'll have to go up there and run a little bit of water in one of those bathrooms. Yeah, I think it must snake through and be out on the back wall, so we're going to have to go up and probably run some water in the kitchen. There we go. So actually we can see now. So that helped, but you can see how it broke loose, and so we'll run some water up there anyway, but we don't need to see now. But we'll leave that running. In the bathroom, and it'll flush out from that point, but you'll be able to see where that other tie-in was, about halfway back. But the line itself looks wonderful. The house is, I think the house is being lived in, and so, and they already ran some water on the fixtures to test the individual fixtures, so. Any low spots or bellies in the line would be highlighted by water use, or like water buildup. Basically, it would puddle in those low spots. And we haven't seen any of that, which means that the line has great drop to it, which is good. The line looked great structurally going upstream of the cleanup. And as we pull back, we'll see, we'll go downstream. But all the interior line, we must be getting close to where that line ties in. There we go, you're starting to see some water. And there it is right there on the right. Now the camera, sadly, they don't make a camera yet that you can, turn and send the directions you want, so you have to go down in the main, through the main lines, and without access to those, like this would be a toilet or something, you'd have to pull a fixture or something to be able to get through it. But that is where that basement bathroom ties in. Looks like we should be getting real close to the clean out. You can tell by the footage. The footage isn't exact. We'll use that as a reference. You could zero it out, but it's goes by the rotation of the drum, not the actual, how the camera comes out. So it's it's just there as a reference for notes on the video, because there's 6 feet of line out of there, basically before it, by the time it gets out of the drum and down into the clean out and everything, it adds a few feet, but which I can do that on this one. We'll zero it out when we go downstream, but we have pulled back, and now we're turned and we're going downstream. You can see by the flow of the water. Now it's coming from behind the camera. So we'll leave that water on for now unless it for some reason creates an obstruction to the view. But you notice that the exterior pipe is green. It's all PVC, but the green stuff is slightly different, like rating system that they use. One is this is SDR 35 is the green stuff, and the interior white stuff is Schedule 40. Just two different rating systems. Basically, the green stuff is used outside and is usually not glued together. On most of the joints they have like gaskets to allow a little bit of movement with the earth, keep it from shearing off. just like when we were pushing upstream and building some build up of stuff here in the line, or on the front of the camera, not in the line. And again, you can see here how drastic the drop-offs are. When I make the turn, you can see the angle indicator in the bottom left. Back horizontal, and there's not a lot of water there. It's just that camera lens is only a ½ an inch off the bottom of the pipe, and this should be a 6-inch diameter pipe here. So So I was saying how I'm plowing through it, and it pushes it up on the front of the camera, and then once it settles, it exposes the camera lens again. So once we turn that water off, when we're done, when we pull back, you'll be able to see right there in those spots. And so here we are, where we're tying into the sewer main. Based off the footage, I'd say it's probably across the street, maybe 5 feet out from the front of the house. And so I'm going to pause that video, and we're going to turn the water off, and then we'll pull back and take another look at it on the way back. But everything looked great. Great. It seemed like it had really good pitch on the line, so no water was sitting, no low spots. Again, the camera lens is only about a ½ an inch off the bottom of the pipe, so it's real. Wouldn't take much to even obscure the view. In this situation, it didn't do that, with the exception of a couple spots with all the water running. That's where it was more because we're adding all the excess water than anything to do with the pipe. So I'm going to pause the video, we're going to turn the water off, and we'll let that drain down a little bit. Alright, the water should have drained down pretty well. Still see just a little bit still moving, but it should be enough to keep the camera lens above the water line. But the line looked really good. Didn't see any structural issues. All the connections are nice and tight. The one thing I did notice when I was pushing out is a connection for an outside clean out. Even if they're not exposed, it's usually a clean out in the middle of the front yard. It may be buried. But sometimes the angle of the camera kind of hides the
Hi, how you doing?
view.
This is Steve. This is Mike. It's our oldest son, Phyllis.
yeah, normally you would see something right outside the front yard, so not sure. Usually it's right where the developer installs the sewer main, and then the sewer lateral coming across the street before the house is built, and they stub it up onto the property, and then when the builder comes in most cases it's the same company, but they come in when the house is built and they just tie on to that line that's under that has come in, across the street or whatever, and tie into it. But in this case, I don't see one because we are back inside the house and out of the cleanout. So there must be some reason as to why that was not required, or we just couldn't slightly see it from the bottom of that turn. But it's not. Obviously, it's not a problem, but it's just something that you normally see, especially on houses this age. But the line itself looked great. No structural issues at all. Once we turned the water off, everything drained perfectly, and so the line has great pitch. All the water was evacuated as designed, and so the line's in great shape. No issues found. So that'll end the inspection at 7227 Rivendell Circle in Circleville, Ohio, or Centerville. Sorry.